And I'm just going to say a few words about Kony through 2012 by way to think about the Ugandan case. So as we know, Kony 2012, it's a film that was inspired by the work of an NGO, Invisible Children, that was set up 8 years ago to address violence in Sudan and Uganda. And with $1 million from JP Morgan Chase, they created a 30-minute film for their media campaign. Inspired by Nicholas Kristof's travel, that is to Uganda, and his interest in its 25-year-old war and the consequences of that violence, which certainly resulted in the death of displacements of millions of Ugandans. The goal of the film was to show the link between mass violence and the need to make Joseph Kony accountable for the last 25 years of violence committed by the LRA. As Kristof narrates in the film, and I quote, Kony heads the Lord's Resistance Army, a Christian terrorist group which has reportedly abducted and forced more than 30,000 children to fight with them since their revolt began in 1986, end quote. He then discloses his commitment was inspired by a promise he made to Jacob, a young Ugandan boy whose brother was killed by Kony's men. The solution was clear for Kristof, that he was going to do everything possible to stop them. And herein lies the central problem and the central tenet of the story. It's about American political participation and presumptions that stoppage of a single leader will rectify Uganda's plight. The other tenet that structures the story is the relationship between Kristof and his son. His son is taught that there are good guys and there are bad guys. The way to make Africa a better place is to stop the bad guys. Kristof's savior complex is catapulted with a message that by donating money through a simple click of your mouse and buying a kit that will fund and arrest Joseph Kony, every American can be part of the solution to help poor Ugandan victims. The simplicity of this message is compelling and adumbrates the possibility that Africa can be transformed by our philanthropy. The sad reality is that Kony 2012 is one of the stories of philanthropic humanitarian gestures whose narrativization of the solution to Africa's problem repeats the same refrain, that one, capturing a single commander will solve Africa's problems, and two, justice equals law.